Welcome to the Holy Yogi, where we help you find the guru inside of you. Hello, beautiful. Hello, handsome. Woo! How you doing today? And if no one has told you today that they love you, mwah, let me be the first. Give you some cyber hugs and lots of love today, because love is the greatest medicine of them all, and love makes the world go round. Stay in light and love, folks. Stay in light and love. With that in mind, today is day 2 of our wonderful How to Find Your Soulmate Secret Part 2. Yesterday we talked about being the love that you're looking for. Learning to love yourself is the main secret. And once you can identify what love is, and let's reiterate, love is happiness, it is peace, it is joy, it is bliss, it is confidence, it is, discipline, it's order, it's balance, it's harmony, it's reciprocity. So it's all the good, wonderful, happy emotions that are available and that we're naturally born with. That's who we originally are. Love does not hate. It does not envy. It is not jealous. Okay. Love is an action word, and it does not make you cry. Okay, let's be very clear about that. It does not make you feel insecure and fearful. That is not love, and it's been misconstrued by love, because even in some people even quote the Bible. A wonderful person that was on my Holy Yogi, Instagram account, and let's take a commercial break. If you want to get in contact with me, you want to answer some questions or ask some questions during our wonderful Soulmate series, then definitely ask them, DM me in my Instagram account, Holy Yogi, okay? The Holy Yogi, my Instagram account. And I'd be happy to answer all of those questions. Okay, back to the story at hand. But she got upset with me because I told her that anger was not a natural, healthy emotion. And of course, she got angry about that. Okay? And in a nutshell, she said, in the Bible, it said that God was angry. And like I said, the Bible was written by man. And also maybe misinterpreted, as far as man is concerned. Okay? Because God does not get angry. God is only love. Pure, unconditional, unadulterated love. You can't be at two places at the same time. You can't say you got an angry God and a loving God at the same time. The God is love. And we know what they call the other, anger and envy and all that kind of stuff. But we all know that that's not real, that's not true, that's not light, and that's not love. So we're not even going to give any power to it. So anyway, back to the issue at hand. Went off on a slight tangent there. But we talked about love. So now we're working on that, and we've got that ironed out, who we really are, and we're going to focus our energies on that so that we can what? It's all about vibration frequency. You create your, vibe for your tribe, okay? So if you want to create and draw that type of loving, compassionate, giving mate towards you, you got to be in it to win it. You got to be all about it in a nutshell. So now, today is all about creating your list. That's right. It's all about putting it on paper to make it real. First, we think about it, okay? We've already thought about, the type of loving person that we want to be. So now what we have to do, after we think about it, it's kind of like visualizing it, okay? Now, for it to become real, we got to put it down in ink, paper. Once people see it on paper, it starts to become real, starts to take on a life of itself. It comes into the physical, okay? And like any type of paperwork, any type of contractual agreement, okay, with yourself, okay, and your soul, you write it down, you sign it, and you seal it. So write down the qualities of the type of man or woman you would like to meet into your life. it's like anything in life. You don't want to just leave it up in your head because you might forget. You know, it tends to, when it's up there, it tends to go off into different areas and location. So by putting it on paper, it becomes more concrete. It becomes more real. So writing that list down. And it basically, if you think about it, like you're brainstorming for a paper or things of that nature when you're writing a story, you know, you got to brainstorm, you got to outline what it's going to be about, and the pieces of the puzzle start to really come together, starts to seal the deal. And that's with any contract. Once you sign it, you have sealed the deal. So in a nutshell, what you want to do now is you want to focus on that, writing it down, okay? So for me, a while back when, and I'm going to share this story with you because, you know, I fully understand why the relationship failed and it didn't succeed when I was striving for finding my soulmate. Because I had a list. I definitely had a list. Okay, so, but basically I wrote it down and I had, I think, like 10, you know, just keep it simple. Don't keep it too long. Don't, you know, be detail oriented, okay? Be factual because you don't want ambiguity in the language, okay? You want to be concrete because the universe will give you exactly what you're asking for, okay? But sometimes it's not going to be everything on that list, so you got to be patient. You got to be clear when you get the signs and the signals. So write down that list. So let's say number one, which I highly recommend. Number one, you want a spiritual being in your life. You want someone that puts God first in their life. Because of the God, we always say God is what? Love. And all the other wonderful positive qualities of the essence of God. So you want that to be number one, because if that's number one for you, it should be number one for him. And they always say, like, one of the key tenets of a good, successful relationship is what? It's faith, it is family, and then it's finances. It's all about getting our priorities in order, okay? And maybe you want that to be number one, number two, and number three, you know. But you want to get it down to a science and get that list together. So now it becomes in the physical. And the reason why it's so important is just imagine going to the supermarket without a list. What do? First of all, and don't go when you're hungry either, right? We go into that supermarket and we have tons of ideas of what we want. And we tend to buy, you know, things, impromptu things that are not on the list. And we spend more money than we're supposed to, and and so that's off our budget. So then we're really starting off wrong. And sometimes we, you know, put things in that basket that we know we shouldn't be having, like too much sugary things, etc. And that's the same thing with, you know, finding, you know, that soulmate of our dreams. If we don't have it ironed out of what we want, we're going to put someone in our life that doesn't match up with what we want because we're desperate, because we're, you know, not thinking in our spiritual mind. And once we refer back to that list, when we're in the supermarket, we're like, no, can't have that. You know, it's too many calories. I'm going to gain a whole lot more weight. I'm buying that because my eyes are bigger than my stomach right now. I'm hungry. So, you know, I'm getting stuff that's going to be not healthy for me. And that's the same thing as far as, you know, choosing someone that's not healthy for your relationship. Because we always see the flags, okay? And it's whether or not we're paying attention to it or choosing to do that. But when we can refer back to a list, that keeps us on track to really stay focused on that reality. So, you know, having that list will help us organize ourselves and keep us on track. And if at the very beginning we say we want somebody that is of the godly nature, if, you know, you've been having a conversation with someone, or even if you ask them when you go out on a date and God is not a part of the conversation, or they say they're atheists, or they don't, you know, have a reference for God, etc., you already know, okay, that's not an enlightened type of experience, okay, type of situation. And not only that, like I said, Spirit will guide you you'll get this wonderful thing that comes over your body. And like I said, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But what we want to do is we want to balance, we use our intuition and we use our intelligence. Or said another way, we want to use our heart first. It's coming from the soul. And then we want to use our intelligence, work them in tandem, balance it out when we're choosing our mate, okay? So now, organize our thoughts. Get it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then after you write that list down, and really sit back and think about it, okay? You want to pray over it. You want to put it at your spiritual altar. Even, your vision board, create that. Once again, it becomes in physical, what he kind of looks like, tall, dark, handsome, in shape, physically fit. Now keep in mind, we said this before yesterday, whatever it is that you're asking, requesting of someone else, you make sure you're it. Don't talk about you want somebody to be financially safe and secure, making $100,000 a year, and you ain't making $100,000 a year, and you don't have your credit together, and you're not doing money management tips, okay? You can't see or experience what you're not having already in your life. Like I said, you got to be about it also, okay? You want somebody physically fit, you can't be two-ton Tony and expect him to come up with 6 packs of abs, okay? That's being unrealistic and that's being disingenuous, okay? Because you're asking somebody to do the things that you're not willing to do yourself, okay? So now, it's important that you get your act together, because not only that, like I said, let's say he's not there yet. Let's say he's not chiseled Charlie yet. And you're not, voluptuous vanity, okay? But, if you guys are striving to be that way, you may meet that chiseled guy in the gym and he's going into that direction. So, you can mark that off your list. Now, keep in mind, as you're wishing for those things, so is he's wishing for those things. And if you guys are striving in the same direction, you automatically have something in common. That person has potential, okay? Keep that in mind. Or let's say he isn't, making $100,000 a year, but he started his business and he's working towards that and he's got a game plan of action in place. Or he is in college and he's working towards that, as a law school student or as a engineer or a science major, etc. If you see these people are heading in that direction and that they're sincere, not perpetrating a fraud, okay, because we'll talk about that in a second. All right, then you can say that because y'all both are leaning in that direction, you have those type of things in detail entailed. So keep in mind, they necessarily have to be there, but they're aspiring to do that. And then you, like I said, have a lot in common. You can go from there, okay? So now, let me share with you the story about my list that I built, okay? And that's what really contributed. Hindsight 2020, we always get it after the fact. But make a long story short, I had a list and I was really focusing on coming back from college. I didn't have the job of my dreams, but I was heading in that direction and I was ready. I was 26, maybe 27 years of age, ready to be in a relationship. Came back from Japan and was really starting to strive, towards my goals and dreams. And make a long story short, my ex-husband, who was a college professor, happened to be working for him at the, Love at the Office. Be careful about that one too. But I happened to be working for him. And make a long story short, I created my list in a wonderful book. I got to remember that book. It's a big, good book you guys can use as a reference. But make a long story short, I had my list. And what had happened was he was on his mission to finding the love of his life. And I gave him a book, to keep him encouraged, because I really feel as though, particularly in the African-American community, that we have a dysfunctional ideal interpretation of love. So I knew that I was once again had to get educated. So I was reading books about relationships between a black man and black woman, because that's what I wanted in my life. A happy, successful relationship, a love relationship, and was written by a Christian man who was in a happy, once again, when you're looking for role models and mentors in a particular arena, he was in a successful relationship with his wife of 20 plus years, etc. And so now he was writing a book on giving us clues in order to help us find it. So I thought it would be a good role model and give me some good tips and tricks. Now, keep in mind, it's not the be-all and end-all. I don't ever believe, even with my information I'm sharing with you, you take out what resonates and what works for you, and that you feel as though will help you along the journey. Because the final determinator is your spirit and your soul. And when you listen to that, that is your truth, and it will draw you into the right direction. You'll know when you're seeking advice from other people, circumstances. But a good example is they see what type of life that they are leading. And if it resembles the type of life that you want, well, by all means, take it into consideration, but with a grain of salt, okay? You say, always listen to the message and not so much the messenger. And more importantly, watch the example that you want to experience. Anyway, back to the story at hand. Had my list, had it going on. Well, come finding out, I gave him my book with my list in it. We had the same book. And he told me, I think you want me to have that book. But what he did, unbeknownst to me, he went and read the list, and he tried to become the list. Watch that. Cheated. Tried to become the list and was misrepresenting himself. It wasn't who he genuinely was. Okay? Particularly the spiritual part. And because he wasn't being honest, because he was cheating, and in essence lying, because he wasn't being his authentic self, once we got married, he reverted back to his authentic self. And the marriage was doomed from the very, very beginning, because it wasn't coming out of truth. It wasn't coming out of love. It wasn't coming out of respect. And it wasn't coming out of honesty. If you don't have that basic foundation, you are on sand, ladies and gentlemen, and it will fail. And that's why the relationship failed. Because one of the key hints I'm going to give to you, and then we'll talk about number 3 tomorrow, and that is that whenever you are in a relationship with someone, you want to make sure that it is for a long period of time. I waited 6, 7, 8 months, really being with that individual before I decided to want to marry that individual. And I say now that it should be at the very latest. Like I said, once we got married, he shifted and changed and he said the work was done. I perpetrated a fraud. You can do it but so long. That's why it's so important that you have a platonic, loving relationship without any sexual intercourse, because that skews everything, okay? We think we're marrying out of love or we're marrying out of lust. That skews everything. When it makes it very complicated when we have sex before we are married. Yep, I went there. I know. Get excited. It's coming in the not too distant future. So what I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to, focus on creating that. Let's get excited and let it, and when you get up, say prayers and meditation before you get there, and ask for divine intervention. Ask for God to come in place and teach you the tenets of the original nature of the characteristics of what you're looking for in a person. And remember, be open, because God's plan is always better than your plan. We'll talk again tomorrow. Have a great